Canada's
HGB.
You have reached your destination.
You're listening.
Being a superhero is bad for your health.
Now that you're here, why don't you stay a while? The coffee's all brewing here on Carla's Coffee House, HGB Canada. Stick around. We're going to have a good time tonight. Well, thank you so much for joining me here on Carla's Coffee House on HGB Canada. We're pretty excited to let you know today that we have one young lady named Samantha Ciotti, and she is with Still 18. Hi, Samantha. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Carla. Thank you so much for having me.
So I hear that you're not even in the country right now.
No, we actually, most of the time we spend in Dominican Republic.
Ooh, so you don't have to deal with all this Mother Nature's getting moody stuff. Like one day she's like super hot and then next day she's snowing on us.
Yeah, so we do sweat a lot here. That's the downside.
As long as you got water near you, right?
Exactly, yeah. But it's funny, you can't really maintain any hair and makeup here. It kind of just all washes away.
I'd look like a real hoorah's nest, I think, if I was down there.
Well, you look like a really cool chick. I'm looking at your display picture. You've got a guitar.
Well, thank you.
I like music girls.
Oh, me too. And it's great when you meet other music girls too, you know, because you get something to talk about, right?
Totally.
So you're the youngest member. It's a family situation, isn't it?
It sure is, yeah.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about it and a little bit of the history that goes with Still 18.
All right. So, my dad was he's been a musician all his life, and he was actually the first lead singer of Platinum Blonde. He also fronted Trixie Goes Hollywood. So that was a while ago, and yeah, music's always been like his favorite thing to do ever, and so I caught the music bug, of course, when I was around. Of course, right? I caught it when I was around 8 years old after seeing the movie The School of Rock. And I was just so set on starting a band, so I kind of got my third grade class involved, and I put up a poster, whatever, and anyway, all these girls signed up, and we were called Crush, and we learned AC/DC and Good Charlotte, and it was a bunch of fun, and my dad very patiently taught us all how to play.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we started opening up for his band here on the island. He was in a cover band. And then that kind of fizzled out after a few years, but I was still super serious about music. And my dad had written all these great songs about our experiences on the island. Like, you know, we're a witness to a lot, you know, of poverty, of greed, of environmental degradation, all that kind of stuff. So it really fueled his songwriting. And I said, Dad, you have to play these. And basically we started jamming in our music room. He taught me how to play bass. I played guitar before. He was playing guitar. And my mom, who I just think it's the coolest thing, she's always been a businesswoman. She's never played an instrument before. She was like, no, I'm going to join in on this fun. And she picked up the drumsticks, and here we are after a lot of practicing and perseverance. So it's just the coolest thing to do.
It's so cool the way that it actually happened too. It was just, you know, out of passion and fun, you know, and something to say.
Exactly, yeah. I can't believe it. It's really just come together so well. And, you know, now my dad and I write most of the songs together, and it's just so fun. And I feel like we have a great time performing, and, you know, the people, like the audience reaction's always really strong, and they love that we're a family. So it just feels really purposeful and great.
You know, there's nothing better than playing and singing with family, though, because there is a unique sound that comes with family members that you just can't replicate with anybody else.
Oh, it's so true, and the vibe as well.
Exactly. Do you guys ever have these little family issues on stage where you kind of roll your eyes at each other because you're a little bit mad from the night before?
Oh yeah, no, we've been through it all, but yeah, no, we usually keep our little squabbles to rehearsal. So like no, you're playing it wrong. No, it was you. No.
So,
but we always get along at the end of the day.
well, that's and that's so important, for the even for us listening, because we can catch your vibe when you're having a good time on stage, and even when there's some quirky things going on, it's like we get to watch, and it's we're part of it.
Oh, it's so fun, and I feel like for this band, there's something in it for everyone of all ages. So, like, I remember this one gig in particular. This table full of girls were just so like they thought it was the coolest thing that my mom was up there playing drums. So they were saying "Team Mama, Team Mama" and stuff. And so then and then it's just so awesome. So we love it.
So, how long have you guys had this Still 18? How long has this band been together?
I think it's been about 5 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's been quite the adventure. We just came back from Europe a month ago. We played in Belgium, we played in France, Italy, Switzerland. We had a blast, so that was great.
Wow. Well, you know what? I think it's awesome when, you get to travel the world and see and hear other people's, worlds. It's so cool because we can get so stuck in our own little corners in our world and just be caught up in whatever's happening and miss so many blessings that come with travel and being exposed to other cultures and other people and the way they think.
Absolutely, that's really nicely put. Yeah, we've met so many people from around the world, and I feel like everyone can relate to our songs. We have a lot of songs, as I mentioned before, about like some meaningful stuff going on and some of like the hot button issues everyone is talking about. So people really connect with the themes in there. Like, basically at the end of the day, we just want to make life nicer for everyone and stuff. I think that's our goal as humans, right? So it's really nice to share our music.
So, are you? Can I ask you how old you are, or is that rude?
I'm 23. No, I'm 23.
So you've been doing this for 5 years. So it's almost been like since you were 18.
Well, actually, yeah, we've been actually playing together a bit longer than that, but we really formed Still 18 and got really serious about it when I was 18. Lauryn Hill was here. And we actually opened for her, so that was our first really big show or whatever. So that night we realized, like, oh, we really have something here, and we felt a real connection to the audience. So, yeah, we really stuck with it.
I see your video for the song "You Hit Me Like a Drug" is, wow, it's over 1 million views. And
it's so awesome. We're so thrilled. We made it in the backyard. So it's so cool to see this thing that we made do that, and like all the comments and shares, it really seems like people are loving it, so that makes us so happy.
Oh, that's so great. And how many albums do you guys have out as a group?
We have one EP, which is 4 songs, and then we have 2 singles out, including the "You Hit Me Like a Drug" single. And I just wanted to quickly mention that we do have a giveaway going on, because for those of your listeners who haven't seen the video, there are dancing bananas in it. And so people are just loving the dancing bananas. It's so cute. Some people have made memes of them in the comments and everything. It's just so fun to watch. So we've actually got some like dancing bananas merch to give away. So you can sign up for the giveaway at still18.com if that interests you, and that's 18 spelled out.
Okay, so remember that, folks, when you're going over there and get it. You got to go see the video. It is it's really cool.
You can check everything out at still18.com, and we'd love to hear from you, and please tell us if you're listening to this radio show. That would be great to hear from you. And we've got Instagram and Spotify and all that jazz, so follow us. Yeah,
because this station, we're kind of a little bit of an oddball station, because we have both country and I guess you could say alternative rock, because rock seems to be going down to the sidelines a bit, but we have days. So 2 or 3 days of the week, it's basically all country, and all indie artists come on there, and we just mix them all in together, and then you have, your.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's cool, and because I know as a listener, I love country, I love rock, I like classical. I'm pretty varied. Everybody's like that, right?
Yeah, no, I think you should never get stuck listening to one genre.
It kind of narrows you down, and then you become stubborn.
Exactly.
So we've got a song here. I'm going to play this one first, and I want you to tell our listeners a little bit about this one. This one's called Carnivore. Can you fill us in a little bit?
I sure can, yeah. So Carnivore is a song about a man who's insatiably greedy, I guess, and it's kind of about our society nowadays. It just seems like, you can never buy enough, you can never have enough and everything, and that's really a trap that a lot of people are in, and we're just kind of trying to shed light on that. I wrote it with my dad, and we love performing it. I sing the chorus and stuff, so it's super fun for me to rock out to live and stuff, so yeah. And we have a video out, you can check it out at still18.com. And yeah, we're really happy with that song.
All right, so we're going to give it a whirl here right now. Here's Still 18 with Carnivore.
I want a bigger house. I want a hot new spouse. I want to sink my teeth into some fresh new meat. I want more.
Blood on his hands, gonna take him to the promised land. He don't care about the blood on his hands, gonna take him to the promised land. He don't care about the blood on his hands, gonna take him to the promised land. He don't care about the blood on his hands, gonna take him to the promised land.
I want a fancy car. Don't need to drive it far. Just want them all to see. Cruising down their streets. I want more. Baby, I'm a carnivore. Yeah, baby, I'm a carnivore. Yeah.
He don't care about the blood on his hands, gonna take him to the promised land. He don't care
And there you go. That's Carnivore from Still 18. And we have Samantha here on the phone with us all the way from the Dominican Republic. Is that right?
Hello. Yes, it sure is.
So, you guys, are you touring right now, or are you just kicking back and enjoying life?
Well, we did. Yeah, we just came back from Europe a month ago, and now we've actually signed a recording contract with RL Recordings. They're affiliated with the record label MI5 as well as Universal Music Group. So that's really exciting news for us. They're great people and, yeah, very connected people, and they love the band. And so we just signed that. And so we're coming out with a new single with them, and so we're just in studio mode right now, recording. So we're super excited about the new single. It's called The Sun. It should be out in about a month, and we're very excited to see what's next with the RL team.
Oh wow, that's going to be awesome for you guys.
Oh, thank you.
So, where's your parents from? Let's do the small town community thing, because when you're from small towns, you go, who's your mommy and who's your daddy, where they're from.
Yeah.
So
My mommy and daddy are from Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're proud Canadians because Canadians are so nice.
Yes, we are, aren't we?
Yeah.
And humble.
And so, yeah, and in 1985, my parents came to Dominican, and they kind of just explored the place. They rented motorcycles, and in this town we live in, like, at the time when they were there, like, nothing was there at all. But they loved it, and they vowed to one day move here. And so, yeah, we're so lucky that we spend most of our time here and stuff. So, yeah, they really made their dream come true. So it's awesome.
It's so great when people get to do what they want to do in life, because
Exactly.
it's so
Yeah,
short.
you got to.
You know, life is
Yeah.
so short. Now, school. When you were going to school, you've graduated. Did you ever think, well, geez, you know, maybe I'm going to go to university and get a music degree or anything like that?
No, actually, you know, I'm a musician. I'm also a writer, so I've got some great things happening with that as well. I have an agent in New York, and so just working on that kind of stuff. And university never seemed like the right choice for me. I'm definitely a performer, and I'm sticking with music and persevering, and the same with writing. I just love both things so much, and I feel so lucky that I can do those things and pursue those careers.
That's so true. And I think that's really, you know, the key to anything is whatever there's a difference between, I guess, a job and a vocation, right? What you're called to do in this life.
Yeah.
And you
And I
can't get away from it.
sorry. No, you really can't. It's so ingrained in me. Like, I will never not be a musician and a writer ever. And, like, for those of you listening, I just want to say that, you know, there are tons of ups and downs while following your dreams. But I feel like if you stick with it long enough, those dreams will come to fruition. You know, like, so many people quit, you know, only, like, if they could go back and see how close they were, you know. So don't give up, everybody out there.
Oh, that is such wonderful advice, because that's something that I always get everybody that comes on the show to, you know, what could they actually say to artists out there that are struggling and are, you know, depressed. I actually asked somebody the other day, a lady that I'm just starting to work with a little bit in the USA, and I said to her, I said, is it just me? Or I said, or all of us musicians we have really highs and really bad lows?
Oh, yeah.
And let's talk about that a little bit, actually. I just want to mention that, because it's almost like taboo to actually speak about it. But as creative people, there is some real highs and real lows. And we pull from that, I guess, in our writing and in our music.
Yes.
But it's a really difficult spot to go through. Can you give me an example that you're okay with to talk about that you've went through and how you come out the other end?
Yeah, for sure. So for me personally, like, I've had so many ups and downs with both music and writing, and, you know, there have been some definite, like, hard times with the band and everything, like, as all bands go through. But you just got to push through, and we're always there for each other as a family. That's what's so nice about doing this as a family. So, yeah, there have been some crazy emotional times, but there have also been such highs that it's all worth it. And, yeah, you just got to keep going. That's what I feel.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be any easier either having, your dad being such a well-known musician, like I'm going to say from my age group, because that's true. And there must be a certain amount of pressure for him and for you doing a new project, because people do tend to get very loyal to the old thing, whatever the old thing was, because we loved it, we stay loyal to it. And sometimes it's really hard to break into a new thing because people are expecting you to sound like the old thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I see exactly what you're saying. Well, with my dad and the previous bands that he was in, that was a while ago. And now I just feel like really like he's just, his songwriting is next level. And this project, we're just all so proud of, and he's so proud of. And it just keeps getting better. And we're so glad about that, because like my dad, he's going at it and he's pursuing music. He'll be pursuing it his whole life and playing his whole life, and I just think that's phenomenal. And I feel like people think that, once they reach a certain age, you kind of give up on what you like to do, but that does not have to be the case. You keep going. Like, you could write the best song of your life at age 75,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that is such key for people. Like, I mean, don't we live in a society that tells us, okay, life's over at 65, quit,
Yeah, absolutely.
And age is actually not a thing to be afraid of. It's actually quite an interesting, as I've been getting older, I'm like, I wish I knew what I knew, when I was your age, because I'm smarter now a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know things that if I had known that then, I could have springboarded into so many cool stuff. And then there's the other thing. Technology's changing, and we have access to more things than we ever had before. So there's a lot of positives to getting older, and who knows, we might all be bionic by the time I'm 90.
No, I totally feel the same way. But also, it's always been so interesting to me, like, how they've tried to push young artists, like, beautiful 16-year-old girls and stuff, just because they're beautiful, when, like, maybe, some are amazing, I'm not saying that, but, like, older artists, they have more stories to tell,
Yeah, exactly.
More wisdom and everything. Yeah.
So that brings me to another question that I love to ask. Through your experience, what have you found that listeners actually want? Do they want the like you said, the basically the Barbie and Ken of music out in front of them, or do they want the intense intellect and experience of the older musician and artist?
Well, I feel like it's always going to be divided, because, people like things that are shiny and new and beautiful and everything, but I feel like those artists can't really last and can't make a long career out of stuff, so they kind of burn brightly and then burn out.
Wow. That is so true. I call it shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's really unfortunate that, before it was like music was something you heard with your ears, and now it's just like, oh, what's that artist's Instagram? How many followers do they have? It's all messed up.
It is. It's pretty, it is pretty, even like I was looking around because I was thinking, geez, I want to monetize what I'm doing a little bit just to help me with the cost, because I do it all out of pocket, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm going to try to monetize this if I can, and see if some people want to jump in and help me out. And then I'm looking, and I was like, if you want an advertiser, you have to have at least 5,000 followers. I'm like, okay, so now we know the exact number that you need. 5,000 people are not going to go out and buy your product.
Yeah, it's so, it's really difficult in this social media age.
It is.
It feels like it's just some people just get really lucky, but you've got to keep pushing it, because, like, you could be that person that gets that lucky break in a month from now, or in 2 months from now, or a year from now,
It is, because it's, even though there's algorithms that seem to be running the show, there is a little bit of luck and just haphazardness that comes into it. Just like, my story with Eric, it was an accident, and we have a great working relationship. And so he sends me wonderful people like you guys, and it was just, one of those things that it was just a simple email, and it wasn't even to Eric, it was to somebody else, and all of a sudden I had a relationship with Eric, and there you go. So you
Oh,
never
that's nice.
know, you know, sometimes it's just a little, I don't know if you call it luck, but definitely the universe is getting involved there somehow.
Totally. I think good things come to those who keep trying.
Exactly. And it
Yeah.
is hard work. Like you've heard, I'm sure you've heard it said, like people will look at somebody that's successful no matter what it is, music or, you know, they're a CEO of a successful company, and they look at them as though, wow, you know, they just kind of stepped into it. But there was a lot of sweat and tears and heartbreak that
Oh,
went
for
behind
sure.
that.
That's what I'm learning, you know. I just, you know, with all the ups and downs that I've been through so far, you know, I just learned that, okay, yeah, you just stick with it and things will actually fall into place. Like you know, I think you're given your dreams for a reason kind of thing.
Wow, I like that. Because I
Oh,
think
you're
that's
sweet.
true. I think that's really true. You know, you can tell when I'm talking to you. I can certainly tell that you've got wisdom beyond your years.
Oh, you're
And-
so nice. Thank you.
Well, I'm just telling you the truth, and I can feel that the whole sense of joy that you have, and
Aw.
I know that, you know, joy is something that it's a motor, it's an engine, and if you have joy, it springboards you where you want to go.
It actually does, yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing, and I try to encourage people. Like I'm quite the goof when I'm off the air. I'd like to be more goofy on air, but I don't know if people would really, you know, chill about that or what.
Oh, I think they'd like it.
But yeah, you know, everything I do, I'm always trying to apply humor in what I'm doing, because I find that a lot of people are walking around, you know, kind of down and depressed. You know, they've got worries
Yeah.
on their mind, and it lightens them up. And when you can lighten them up, it's like a service that you do. And I don't know, I'm kind of corny about it because I've seen it work. I've seen it, you know, heal people's hearts, and I've seen it turn their lives around. You know.
No, I feel the exact same way. I feel like you should just be as nice to people as you possibly can. And I think that, like, for me personally, meditation really, really helped me get out of a dark place. So, yeah, I recommend that to anyone. Just, you know, just mindfulness or meditation or gratitude journals, it all helps.
No, tell me you were in a bad place. Come on now.
No, just like, no, not, you know, not severe or anything, but just like, you know, different things that happen, like, you know, disappointments or things falling through or whatever, you know, it kind of adds up, but then you've got to clear that space for new things to come in, you know?
Absolutely. Now let me ask you this. Who is
Yes.
your favorite singer or band?
Ooh, that's tricky. Personally, keeping it Canadian, I love Joni Mitchell. I'm a big fan. And who else? In terms of like rock bands, I really like the White Stripes.
Oh my God. Hotel you were there?
Yeah, no, I really like them. I like so many different artists. It's crazy. I don't know if you're familiar with Daniel Johnson. He has some really cool stuff. And then there's Jake Bugg. He's an English singer, kind of like a blues, rock, country kind of guy. I feel like you'd really like him. He's awesome. I saw his show in Toronto, actually. Yeah, you should check him out, Jake Bugg. And yeah, that's all I can really, it's hard to think of everyone.
Don't want to leave anybody out either, right?
Sorry?
And you don't want to leave anybody out and then you go after.
I know. It's
Shoot,
so
I
hard.
should have
It's
said
so
him.
hard. Exactly. No, but yeah, Joni Mitchell's a big one. And yeah, how about you?
Oh, me? I guess I'm kind of like, I am such a Steve Earle fan. It's ridiculous.
Okay, I can't say I'm familiar.
Steve Earle, he did, I guess his most famous song would be Copperhead Road, but he came out really country when he first started. I think it was in the mid 80s that he kind of hit the airwaves. And then, you know, stuff happened and he left the record label, or the record label left him. He went basically on his own, soloed for many, many years. And now he's back doing his hardcore outlaw country with the Dukes again. And I just can't get sick of him because I love his style of writing. He was very influenced by Town Van Zandt and Guy Clark and those guys. And I don't know. He's one of those artists that's rounded, and he can pull off pretty much anything.
That's awesome. Is Town Van Zandt the song Lungs?
You know what? I can't remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is. That's a great song.
I think so too. If I can, he had such a repertoire out, and Steve Goodman,
That's
of
awesome.
course. I mean, you gotta love Steve Goodman.
I don't know. I feel so stupid. No, I've
No,
never
they're
heard
not
of him.
stupid. It's just probably way beyond your time. Look him up, though. I think if you like humor, you're going to love Steve Goodman because he wrote a really famous song for Merle Haggard. He wrote Riding Through of New Orleans? The town of New
Oh my
Orleans? Or the
goodness,
village?
no.
Of- yeah.
I don't know it, but I'll definitely check it out. I actually just wrote it down on the sticky note. Steve Goodman. Okay.
Yeah, check him out and he didn't do a
Awesome.
lot of like recorded stuff. Most of his is like live shots right out of wherever he was playing, and he's got I don't know. He's got a song out there called "Talk Backwards," and he literally talks backwards through the song.
Oh my gosh, I feel like that would be really hard to record.
That's what I thought too, and I'm like, I can't talk frontwards, let alone backwards. Somebody asked me one time, "Hey, do you want to sing karaoke?" I said no, because I can't read and sing at the same time.
Yeah, I guess that is rather unnatural. That's funny.
It
I
is.
feel
It's like
so lost. I've been to a few karaoke nights, and I'm used to performing in the band, but also like by myself. So I always have a guitar or bass or something. And then it's just like when you just got the microphone in your hands, you're like, what do I do?
exactly,
How do
and then
I
I gotta
move?
look at that dot that keeps jumping on the words.
Yeah, that's distracting.
Oh, it's fun though. It's fun. Now, like, what do you like to do? And I asked another musician this, and I laughed because he told me it was actually Miles Goodwin of April Wine. I said, "What do you do?
Oh, nice.
What do you do for fun outside of music?" And he said, "This is my fun." It's like, oh, okay. What do you do
That's
for
good that
fun?
I'm doing what he loves. What do I do for fun? Well, our whole family kiteboards here. So I don't know. Are you familiar with kiteboarding?
I don't think so. And even if I was,
Okay.
explain that to our listeners in case they aren't.
So it's you've got a board. It looks like a wakeboard, and then you've got a harness on, and you've got this bar with these very, very, very long lines, and it's attached to a kite that's usually about whatever 10 meters, well 10 feet, 10 meters, 10 feet long, and it's awesome. It pulls you across the water, and it's really fun. You can jump with it.
Really?
It's awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so now, are we friends enough I can come down and do this kite skitting with you?
Of course, Carla.
Because I've always wanted to do that. I've told people said, what would you like to do on your bucket list? If you knew you were going to die tomorrow, what would you do? I said, hang glide.
Oh, yeah, similar, I guess.
Yeah, and they said, well, why don't you just parachute? I said, no. I said, I can't handle the thought of just jumping out of the airplane, but running off a cliff, that works for me.
Yeah, no, it looks so fun.
Apparently it's more dangerous. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, we'll just leave that for the experts. I won't test that theory. I'll leave that alone. So now if...
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. You'll see me floating down over the Dominica there, and I'll be in a, like, cute little harness thing on a hand glider, hollering down, "Hey, Sam! Is that you on that kite?"
I'll keep a lookout. That's funny.
So when are you coming back to Canada?
That's a good question. Well, since we just signed with this RL recording group, we are kind of just working things out. They're talking, festivals and tours and all that stuff, and we're working on our single. So to answer your question, I am not really sure, but I think that some exciting things will be happening soon, and we will definitely get to Canada as soon as we can.
I want to go back too, because you mentioned about writing, and I wanted to get a little bit more detailed on that. You said you had an agent in New York. What
Yes.
are you allowed to? I know sometimes you're under, you can't talk about stuff. But can you tell us what you're writing? Is it like a book or?
Yeah, no, I can. It's a book I'm just working on right now. It's a young adult book, and it's kind of, I think this is the first time I've really, because it's fairly new, that I've really articulated what it's about. But it's about, some dark stuff, like, feeling suicidal and all that kind of stuff, and a lot of stuff that young people go through, I guess. And my aim is, I've written a couple books actually, but this is the first one that I might get published or whatever when it's done. My aim is just kind of to try and help young people through that rough transition, because it's just such a shock. You've gone from this childhood, like, where you don't have to worry about stuff or whatever, bills for most of us, and then you're thrust into, like, oh, this is real life, and not everything you want happens, and you have to work for things and stuff. And there's some dark stuff that goes along with that, and so I just kind of want to instill, like, a sense of hope in that age group. So I'm really drawn to writing for that young adult genre thing.
That's a really awesome thing that you're doing, because I think
Thanks.
it is a gap. It's a gap there, and I think there's always that's one thing that the generations, I think, have all shared, is that gap, that there's really no prep to get you. Maybe there is now. I'm not sure. I don't have anybody in school that I really know that's coming out of that into adulthood, but there really isn't. There isn't anything to help people kind of transition into adulthood. It's just like you finish school and you go to college, and then college, if you do go to college or university, and then bam, you're into a career. There's not really any time to figure out who you are as a person in the midst of that.
Totally.
And I remember my daughter, Sam, don't kill. My daughter's name is Sam too, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I remember she told me one time, after, she started into her adult years, she said, "Mom, you didn't teach me nothing." I said, "Well, I didn't figure I did." But she said, no, she said, life skills. Like, she says, I don't know anything about, like the financial things and the problems that she was going to run into. And I said, well, I tried to talk to you about it, but I said, as a young person, you weren't interested because it wasn't your reality right now.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I know.
And it's a very difficult age group, because it's coming up. And I remember that being that way. I knew it was coming up, but it's not coming up today, so I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to deal with that cute guy at school right now. That's the only thing I'm thinking about.
No, I know, it's so true. And I feel like they should have classes in school, not only to manage finances, but, like, life skills in terms of, like, conflict resolution, how to get along with people, how to be mindful, how to be positive. Like, there's so much that they should be teaching.
Absolutely. And how they value, I know in Canada, like, now, not so much Toronto. Toronto has so much more resources at its disposal than other areas of Canada, just because of the population size and the demand that's put on government. But other areas, like where I'm from, there's a very big discrepancy. Like, even now you'll see, like, that the holy grail of sports teams are starting to wane off, and schools from different districts have to share the one team because there's not enough volunteers, there's not enough money to go around. And when I was growing up, they were taking music and visual arts out of the schools because it wasn't considered important.
Yeah.
But it's a sad thing, because if you look at the studies and you look at what that actually did to us, it created a gaping hole in our society, because now we don't value it like we used to. And it brought those things like you're talking about. It was an engine for change, so that while you were transforming, if you working in a band, whether it was like a 9-piece school band type thing or a rock band, there was things like you were learning. Well, one would be conflict resolution right there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because you have to get along to play the music. Otherwise, the notes won't sound too good,
Yes.
They'll be a little squeaky. So, these things are important, and I think that's probably why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I know other people are doing this, is they're just reaching out and they're taking a hold of what we thought radio should be again. and bringing it back to the people. And if they like it, that's wonderful. I mean, we're open to suggestions, of course, if people want to suggest. Hey, folks, if you want to suggest anything, go to HGB Canada on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're everywhere. And let us know. Also, let us know what you think of this particular show. I want to give a shout out to there's quite a few people tuning in tonight. And I want to give a shout out to all the ones we got a lot of the United States is on tonight, Canada. And wow, thank you so much for tuning in and supporting artists here. And they're Canadian too.
Well, thank you.
And Samantha, I gotta tell you, it's something very important for me is the openness that you have to, just be yourself. Oh,
that's so nice. You too, Carla.
Oh, thank you. And you're just, Eric said you're gonna have so much fun with Samantha, and I said I can't wait.
Oh, that's so sweet. He's such a nice guy.
Isn't he awesome? I just love him. And I think really, what would you say in your age group is the hardest thing right now for female musicians in breaking into music?
I guess what I would say is you don't have to be sexualized if you don't want to. If you want to, all the power to you. That's awesome. But if it's not your thing, you don't want to be, in little bikinis or whatever while you play guitar, just be yourself, I guess, because I feel like everything's leaning strongly towards the sexualization of female musicians and athletes and all kinds of females. But yeah, just be you. Do that if you want to. That's awesome. But you don't have to feel like you have to do that to make it, and stuff. So I think that's important.
I suppose too, something that everybody should consider is once you're branded, you're pretty much branded, and it's really hard to break the brand.
Oh, absolutely. I know. So make sure you're really being authentic.
Exactly, because you'll have to carry that throughout your life, and you change your mind, you can't really. Well, you can, but it's really a difficult turn to make. Now, we're going to take this out on the song. This is I'll call it the banana song. This is the one. And I want you to tell the listeners just one more time how to get to be part of this giveaway that you're doing based on You Hit Me Like a Drug.
Yes, for any of you tuning in right now, you can find it at still18.com, and that's 18 spelled out, not the number 18, and you'll see the giveaway right there, and you just sign up. It's really easy, and yeah, you can win some awesome Dancing Bananas merch, and so we would love to see you rocking that, and please take a picture if you do get that Bananas merch, because we will definitely post it. And yes, please reach out to us if you're listening to this show. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. You can add our music on Spotify. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you. And lastly, I just want to say that when I was talking about kiting, for any kiteboarders out there, I said for some reason, I just had a brain fart that I said that it was in feet, but it's in meters. I don't want any kiteboarders judging me. So yeah.
You've been judged.
That's just been nagging at the corner of my mind, uh-oh.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I want to thank you so very much. And actually, I'd like to talk to you again maybe when you guys, I know you're going to be probably really busy, but when your single comes out again and things start to settle down, maybe before another tour or whatever, I'd like to hook up again and see how it's going with you guys and have another chat if that's okay with you.
Oh, we'd love that. And it's been such a blast. Thank you so much, Carla.
Well, thank you so much, Samantha, for joining me. And we're just going to take it out here on your song, You Hit Me Like a Drug. And you take care. Thank you so much for being a part of HGB Canada. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Yeah, take care. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye,
Have a great
Sam.
night. Bye.
And that was Samantha Ciotti. And she was talking to us from the Dominica Republic. Just a couple of announcements here before we go into the song. We want to let you know that we are on TuneIn, so you can, if you missed this episode, you can catch it again. We're on anchor.fm under Carla's Coffee House with some slashes in between those words. And you can always, when you jump onto Anchor FM, you can see everything that the show has already produced. We're just starting our YouTube page, so we're going to be doing some live videos there. We've hooked up with the Rebel Revolver down in Indianapolis in the USA. We're going to be bringing you a whole bunch of indie artists, and I think you're going to love it. If you love the outlawed country type, you're going to love that. We do a lot here. We're doing rock, we're doing country, we're doing folk. I don't even know what the genres are these days because they've really changed, but we're doing music, and music that we believe you're going to fall in love with. So go ahead, for 99 cents a month up to $9.99 a month, you can support this podcast. It helps out a lot. I'm not making any big money off of this. In fact, actually, I'm investing myself every month because I believe in what we're doing here is important. It's wonderful to hear these artists getting the attention that they deserve. And guess what? You get some cool music to listen to that you might not have heard anywhere else, right? Right on. So I'm going to give you this song here, Hit Me Like a Drug from Still 18. I want to thank you so much for joining Carla's Coffee House tonight. And you can catch me on KB Canada. That is an online radio station. You can catch them on Twitter. Q108 as well. Check those radio stations for the times, and they will let you know when I am on. I believe I start tomorrow night, April Fool's Day, and I'm not joking, over on KB Canada. And it's going to be 5 times a week, so he's got quite a few radio stations over there coming out of London, Ontario, so take a listen if you missed it here. Thank you for your support for HGB. Share our page, like what we do. It helps the artists, and it helps you hear the music you might not get a chance to hear otherwise. All right, thanks so much for joining me. I better go because I'm starting to stutter. Good night, everyone.
You hit me like a drug.